YB stays on your neck.
It's on my neck.
Two meters.
Yo my dance, make sure you hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and obviously hit the bell for notifications. So some of AJ's sparring partners have leaked, in fact scrap that, the YB can proprietarily leak several names, several sparring partners from AJ's camp. First off, we'll start off with the first video you watched, which was a Don called Tom Motton. Now I've got to be honest, he's only 5-0, so I haven't. Listen, the YB is a casual. Yeah, I've got to be honest. I only really watch the big fights, if the truth be known. Yeah, I'm not one of them Don. I'm not going to come on here and make out I'm something I'm not. I watch the big fights and that's it. Yeah, other fights don't interest me. Simple as that. So with that in mind, I haven't really seen this Don. However, I did include at the start of this video a clip of him, and I've got to be honest, he looks. On the pads, at least, I haven't seen him sparring. I mean, if Dave Allen's anything to go by, then I shouldn't really count the pads. But on the pads, he's moving his head. On the pads, he looks similar to Andy Ruiz. I don't think his hands are as fast, but they don't necessarily need to be. There's different people who can play different roles. But in terms of head movement, in terms of body size, it's pretty good replication. Now, I'm going to, in fact, let me say that after. So in terms of Tom Motton, and I think for me, sparring, what's most important in sparring is getting variety, because if you have a load of different people, then within that you're going to cover a whole range of skills. And you got to be honest, there isn't. It's like trying to find an exact Ruiz. It's never going to happen. Trying to find an exact anyone's not going to happen. And people have been critical of AJ's sparring partners, but put it this way: who's Andy Ruiz bringing in for AJ? That's a better question. Seriously, who's he bringing in? And this is what I'm saying. In terms of, it's easy for people to say, oh, well, yeah, this guy doesn't replicate AJ. Oh, sorry, this guy doesn't replicate Ruiz. You're never going to get anyone perfect. But as far as it goes, it's Tom Motton cat. He looks about right. Now, moving on. We've got another Don called, I think his name's Periban or something like that. Yeah, his name's Albon Pervijaz. Now, I haven't seen him. And here's the second guy, or here's the guy you see in the second video on my video. So he's on the pads throwing quick hands, and people are actually on social media, when they saw this video of Albon, they were actually saying, oh yeah, he's no good, and oh, he doesn't replicate Andy Ruiz. In fact, I'll probably respond to some of them claims in a minute. But anyway, the fact of the matter is, on that clip, he's got fast hands, man. And this is what I was saying. That first guy, Thomas Motton, he's got the head movement, he's got the body build. This Don Albon, he looks like he's got the fast hands. And in my opinion, he's got quicker feet than Ruiz as well. So add them. He's got this guy's hands are as quick as Ruiz's, in my opinion. That said, we didn't see him throw any hooks. He was only throwing straight shots, which is fair criticism. But this is a 20-second clip. Come on, he's probably. Well, people do different things on the pad. Sometimes you work straight shots, sometimes you work hooks. So you can't say. In my opinion, he's got fast hands. If you've got fast straights, you've probably got fast hooks as well. So that's another good addition. And you've got to remember that it's easy to sit there and pick. Number one, it's not hard. It's hard to find people. Number two, anyone who's high caliber, they're busy doing their own careers. They haven't got. As an example, let's say you wanted to bring Chisora in. I think Chisora's another great shout, to be honest. Yes, his hands aren't as quick, but I think he's got more power. He's got more. I think he's got more come forward grit than Ruiz as well. I think Chisora's a great shout. And once again, it's not about, you don't have to have exact matches. You just got to replicate different things. I think Chisora, replicates better power than RUIZ and better pressure than RUIZ. And that's one of the main things AJ needs to work on, is handling pressure. The speed, yes, you need to get used to that as well, but it's horses for courses, meaning, that's probably the wrong saying, but meaning you've got to do one thing at a time. You can't do it all at once. You can't have, well, you shouldn't. If I was going to do the training, I'd want to handle one thing at a time. Let's work on the pressure for a while. Let's work with you just handling pressure. Let's not throw in a million things at once. Let's not throw in someone with power, speed, and pressure. Let's do pressure first, then we'll build in pressure and speed. Does that make sense? That's how I'd like to break it down. But anyway, this Albon Don, he looks like he's got quick hands. So yeah, it's not a bad addition, I don't think. And then finally, the last leak source is Tom Little. Now, come on, man. I'm going to be honest. He's just in there. Tom Little's just in there as another body. He isn't bringing nothing. If people want to criticise Tom Little, I'm all for that. In as much as not him as a person, but him as a sparring partner. He's just another body. You've got to remember, AJ's probably got about 10 sparring partners down there. Just in the mix. Does that make sense? Bearing in mind, people are always at that EIS gym anyway. So he's probably got 10, 15 bodies in there. So it's just about getting work. Yeah? Not every single guy needs to be face specific. You can just have cardiovascular sessions or even sessions where you're working on your bits. Does that make sense? Yeah, you want to work on your defense and whatnot and work on mimicking RUIZ, but sometimes you want to work on little bits of technique that you need to get right, rather than worrying about what's in front of you. Work, Adrian, as an example, I'd use Tom Little as a heavy bag. As an example, I'd use Tom Little as working on my offense, getting that off all night. How about that? Does that make sense? You don't need to. It's all about having a good variety. But before I go, let me talk about some of these criticisms, because people on Twitter make me laugh. Now, I'm not a pro, but that said, some of these people who have been criticising AJ's sparring partners, they ain't got a clue about boxing, not even a bit of a clue. Let me read to you some of the things they've said. Here we go. This is the funniest one. Someone said, in response to the Albon video, he said, "RUIZ's feet are his greatest asset. So AJ will only win if he can match the movement." What is it? What these people, that they hear buzzwords, they'll hear people talk about Lomachenko and movement, they'll hear people say buzzwords and they'll jump on it. RUIZ has the worst feet. His feet are plodding. There's nothing about his footwork at all. Seriously, there's nothing about it. So what you so if AJ can match the movement. Just stop. If you haven't got a clue, just don't say anything. Don't make out you've got a clue, because you sound like a muppet. Oh yes. Oh, RUIZ's feet are his greatest asset. Stop plugging buzzwords. Yeah? You haven't got a George Michael about what you're talking about. And next one. Andy has head movement and waist movement. This dude is as stiff as a board. Albon was pretty stiff, but like I said, in my opinion, the fast hands, trying to find everyone. Yeah, it's and besides, actually, Andy Ruiz, he ain't that elusive. He's not that. His head movement ain't all that, if the truth be known. You've just got to throw combination, put a sticker combo on him. That's what you need to do. His head movement and all that. It's not doing no much. He isn't bending at the hips. He ain't really. He does a bit of a bit. He does dip a bit, but he ain't that fruity with it, in my opinion. You don't see him rolling at the waist or anything. He's not that fruity. He does a bit of a dip and whatnot, but I guess it can get him out of jail sometimes. But half of them shots AJ was throwing was slapping him in the head anyway. Let's be real now. Let's talk turkey now. Even the clone AJ was hitting him upside his head. So his head movement and all that. But listen. So ultimately, ultimately I've shown you, man, the different styles AJ's brought in. I can't be sure who else is there. And that's the other thing, actually, just quickly. It's a great point I've just thought of. Yes, I've pointed out 3 likely sparring partners, but as I mentioned, he's probably got 10. So these are only 3 that we know of. We know Chisora's been in there for a week or 2 as well. Another great shout. So in terms of... And that's actually one last thing I want to touch on. So not only is there another 7 we don't know about, so it's got 10 in there. 10 bodies in there with all the different variety. That's plenty. But not only that, you man have got to realise that when it comes to the sparring, people are complaining about, these guys aren't like RUIZ, this guy isn't like RUIZ. And I've heard YouTubers criticising, this guy's not like RUIZ, AJ hasn't got any sparring partners like RUIZ. But I took a step back myself and I thought to myself, alright then, Who would you bring in then? Rather than criticising the people he's brought in, who would you bring in? It's easy to sit there and say, oh, he's no good, he's not like Ruiz, but who would you bring in then? Seriously, if you could pick anyone, who would you bring in? Because I thought about it myself. Initially, I was quite critical, thinking, oh, that's not like Ruiz. But then I took a step back and I thought, all right then, who would you, if you could wave a magic wand, who would it be? And I sat there and I thought about it, and I thought, you know what? Outside of probably Chisora, I'm struggling. I was struggling to think of someone. Seriously, name me some. Name me some top flight heavyweights who are like Ruiz. That small style isn't really about these days. Everyone's quite long and stiff, from what I observe. They're all more or less the same-ish, like Dubois and all them ones there. They're all like them. There's not many small ones in there. I guess you could maybe a Kalinowski, but even Kalinowski ain't got no fast hands. He hasn't got any head movement. So in reality, outside of Chisora was the one that came to my mind. He's only really lacking the fast hands, but he's got the combinations. So anyway, that's what you've got to realise. And actually, I'll be intrigued. Comment below. If you could pick anyone, who do you think replicates Ruiz well? Let me know.